Hi, I'm Dr. Dan Wogus, and I would like to thank you for donating your time and energy to the Oklahoma Mission of Mercy. In this video, I'm going to go through what you can expect when volunteering during this event. As a volunteer in the sterilization clinic area, our goal is to provide sterile tools to the clinic. Sterilization is a critical area of support for Oklahoma because it ensures the clinic moves at a steady pace and that the instruments are safe for each patient. When you arrive to Oakmont, please go to the registration desk. From there, go to the sterilization area. Look for a volunteer wearing a blue t-shirt. They are the lead for that area. All other volunteers are in black. Then you will be directed to a specific station and given further instructions on that station's specific duties to be performed in the sterilization process. There are many jobs in sterilization that include ultrasonic, rinsing, bagging, handpiece maintenance, autoclave monitors, and frontline workers. Volunteers should know their dental instruments. However, it is not mandatory as there are places individuals can volunteer without instrument knowledge. All workers will be required to wear personal protective equipment in this area. This includes scrub gowns, safety glasses, gloves, and masks. All protective equipment is provided with the exception of eye protection. There will be no open-toed shoes allowed in sterilization. Gloves must be worn by all volunteers who touch dirty instruments, and volunteers handling any contaminated instruments must wear heavy-duty utility gloves. Volunteers working in sterilization must be aware of the area they are working in and not cross-contaminate by crossing from dirty to clean. Sterilization is separated into two areas. One is for the ADCF, or the National Organization, instruments, and the other will be for personal instruments. Contaminated instruments must be brought to sterilization in a covered container marked contaminated to come across the floor to sterilization. No sharps should come through sterilization. All stations will remove their own sharps before walking across the floor to bring their instruments to be sterilized. If you find any sharps, please let the person bringing the sharps know and have them remove it. Then contact the sterilization lead on duty so they may have contact with the lead for that offending area to remind them of the protocol. We want everyone to be as safe as possible. Sterile instruments will be placed in the frontline area of the sterilization area to be picked up for use. Each frontline volunteer will be told to remind volunteers to only get instruments needed for the patient in the chair. The hoarding of instruments leads to shortages and delays in the clinic flow. If any instrument comes back broken, please contact the sterilization lead in charge so they can bag that instrument separately. The following are the steps for processing instruments. Instruments are dropped off at the designated dirty location. Instruments will then be briefly inspected to ensure there are no foreign objects such as teeth, sharps, gauze, cotton rolls, or any other items that are not an instrument. Instruments that belong as a set in ADCF cassettes will be sorted and placed in the correct color cassette before being given to the ultrasonic area. Broken or missing instruments should be replaced at this time. Instruments will then go into the ultrasonic cleaners for the designated amount of time. Do not wipe the instruments before placing them in the ultrasonic. Due to the high volume of instruments, we recommend minimal contact with contaminated instruments. After the ultrasonic cycle, instruments are transferred to the sinks for rinsing. Instruments will again be inspected and any stubborn, blood, or debris can be lightly scrubbed and removed. Instruments should not be scrubbed with disinfecting wipes or gauze pads. Volunteers who touch dirty instruments must wear heavy-duty utility gloves. After rinsing, instruments are sorted and dried and bagged. Instruments should be bagged individually unless they are in a cassette or they are a doctor's personal instruments. An internal indicator strip should already be placed in each bag. If not, alert the lead that you need an indicator strip. Instruments with a hinge should be placed in the sterilization bag with the hinge open. Bags should be folded and sealed at the appropriate point. When a handpiece is returned for processing, it is to be wiped with alcohol to remove any debris. They are then lubricated and bagged for sterilization. Cavitron tips should not go through the ultrasonic cleaner. Cavitron tips will be rinsed with water, any debris removed, dried, then bagged to be sterilized in the autoclave. Visible debris will be removed from used endodontic files by repeated action of gentle placement and removal into a sponge soaked in soapy warm water until all visible debris has been removed. Next, the files will be placed back into a burr basket and transferred to sink stations with the original clean sponge. The files are then given a thorough rinse to remove the remaining soap residue. Finally, the files are removed from the burr basket and bagged in the labeled sterilization pouch. After instruments are bagged appropriately and placed on trays, they can be transferred to a sterilizer. Please note it is very important that the trays are not overloaded with instruments. This may cause bags to stick together, cassettes to melt, and overheating of the sterilizer itself. If this occurs, instruments should be moved to another sterilizer and the overheated unit should not be used until ADCF staff has had a chance to examine it. Upon completion of the sterilization cycle, doors to the units will automatically open. Although we do not recommend the full dry cycle, it is recommended that instruments be allowed to dry for a minimum of 5 minutes before removing them from the sterilizers. This allows the instruments to cool lightly, and it also allows the sterilizer to cool. Instruments and trays will be hot when removed, so appropriate heat protection should be used. Any instruments that are sterilized in a half paper, half nylon bag should be allowed to dry for the full drying cycle. Half paper, half nylon pouches should only be used for personal instruments. Instruments are then designated as clean, where they can be examined for tears or gaps in the seal one last time. Bags should be checked to ensure no debris is present. At this point, instruments will be sorted and placed in their corresponding bins to be recirculated back into the clinic for use. Thank you for volunteering at the Oklahoma Mission of Mercy. We could not provide free, life-changing dental care to our neighbors in need without you. I look forward to seeing you at Oklahoma.